Hey, good afternoon to Mr. Bradley Felix.
Okay, yes, Parliamentary Rep for shows Saltivus here. Team, I'm calling your program this afternoon because between last week and this week, I've been receiving a number of calls from constituents, particularly farmers or registered farmers. Team, there is a program currently running where the Ministry of Agriculture is supposed to be giving water tanks to registered farmers. And it has been brought to our attention at Parliament, and I raised the issue with the Minister of Agriculture as to what is the process. He indicated to me that the farmers need to get in touch with the extension officer in the area, which I have advised to the farmers in the constituency who have been reaching out to me. But to me, it appears that some farmers, because of their affiliation to me and to the United Workers' Party, appear to be victimized. And I say so because some of the farmers have brought to my attention that the word is when they go is that if your name was not submitted by Pauline, which is the lady who I defeated in the last election, you will not be eligible to get a water tank. And so, team, I'm of the view that this giving of water tanks seems to be a political payback. And it begs the question of, and I always tell people, when we speak of hypocrisy, the Labour Party is the most hypocritical party in terms of statements that they make and actions that they take, Tim.
For the past 34 years, her name has been synonymous with
the BELROSE Doctrine. He could not rebuke Senator BELROSE because without a doubt, he is a practitioner and cultivator of the BELROSE Doctrine.
Despite the backlash, Prime Minister Alan Shastney, speaking to the assembled press outside Parliament ahead of the start of debate on the appropriation bill, endorsed the minister's take on the state of play in Castries East, blaming the incumbent instead for the woes of the underserved constituency.
I want to say that, I'm very proud of Ms. St. Rose. I think that Ms. St. Rose and all those persons who know her to be a very genuine person. And therefore, any comments that she would make would always come from a good place. I think that she's dealing with what some of the realities are.
When you elect a government, you elect them on the basis of the policies and programs that they set out. The people of Castries East categorically chose to reject the United Workers' Party.
Just hold the line, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying the people of Castries East chose categorically to reject the United Workers' Party at the last election. Yeah? 11 other constituencies said to the United Workers' Party, yes, we want to build a new St. Lucia with you, we are on the road with you, and we'll be working with you. And so the government sought to invest in those communities where they bought into the philosophy and thinking, you understand, of the government.
Those words, Mr. Speaker, will go down in history. So, Mr. Speaker, to paraphrase, according to the BELROSE Doctrine, if you do not elect the United Workers' Party, if you do not buy into the vision, then you are dead. And the member for Castries East has been the victim, indeed, all opposition parliamentarians.
Another issue, team, I want to raise to your attention is the whole issue of the community development program and the housing assistance program. Team, I have made it known in the Parliament that the last time I received any money under the housing program was in June last year. The amount that was allocated to me was $100,000. In my submission to the Ministry of Housing, I did submit names and amount which exceeded the $100,000 because, team, as anything, you try a thing to see if the ministry will be a little compassionate. Team, today, I have received only about 70-something, I can't remember the exact figure, but $70-something worth of checks for people who have submitted assistance requests for. And team, I can tell you the list that I have is quite significant. Yet still, the Minister of Housing goes on his program and indicates that they have paid me more than I have, submitted. And team, that is a very blatant lie. With regards, team, to the community development program, the government continues to boast that while they never got any money from the last administration to do any community work, they have provided myself and the leader of the opposition for $100,000 of assistance every quarter. Team, out of that $100,000, 20% goes towards social programs. So there's quite a long list in my community where I provide assistance to people for medical interventions. The schools get something out of that. Funeral benefits get something out of that, Tim. And $80,000 goes towards various construction programs in the community. Now, Tim, if you know Choiseul is an extremely large community. And if you get it $80,000 a quarter to do any sort of work, Tim, you know that is a real drop in the bucket. We have been doing some work. And Tim, I want to say something to the people who go out there and indicate that I am getting money and I am not doing anything about it, Tim, or that I am holding the money. Tim, there is no way that monies would be coming to a parliamentary rep and he would not try to disburse these funds. That's suicidal. As much as it is a drop in the bucket, but you try to see how much you can spread that money. And knowing that I'm also in opposition, Tim, I have to ensure that my I's are dotted, my T's are crossed, to ensure that there's nothing that can come back to indicate that in any way I am misusing these funds, Tim. And so I'm very concerned with the rumors that have been spread around that I'm receiving money and I'm not doing anything for the community. I think it is one of the propaganda means that the Labour Party is using to try to gain points, but they shall not save them whenever the next election is called.
Anyway, go ahead, Mr. Minister.
But CP, I don't know why I have to call your phone, your personal cell phone. I've been trying assiduously to call your number, and nobody has been answering.
Well, the other number is my cell phone, 716-2026.
No. I'm talking about 4522979.
Yes, my apologies. We are what we're doing is taking both the landline and our WhatsApp calls.
All right, be that as it may, TP, straight down to business. You know, I got a recording of the member for Choiseul calling your show earlier. And I felt it incumbent upon me to at least call in using the very same forum to dispute or refute, rather, what is obviously an untruth, and to put things in proper perspective. I'm sure you heard the member for Choiseul say that first and foremost, he submitted more than his allocation was. You heard him say that, right?
Yeah, he said he submitted a little bit more so that he could get exactly what he wants. What's that effect?
No. In the first place, he has received more than his allocation. Secondly, he never said that, but I showed on television it was his second allocation. Not his first, his second. Now, he has overspent the total of what the Prime Minister, in his benevolent self, allocated to him. Let me just add, and you also heard him say, Tim, that the Prime Minister gives him $100,000 a quarter.
Yes.
You heard that, right?
Yes, I can recall.
Good.
Yes.
Now, we are just being factual here. How many quarters in any 1 year?
Yeah, 4 quarters.
4.
Yeah.
We have been in office for 3 years and going. So that is at least 12 quarters.
Yeah.
But we have been in office for more than that, at least 13 quarters. Okay? Because we are going on 3.5 years. So 3 years would be 12 quarters. The other half year, at least 1 quarter is gone.
Yeah.
So if he gets 100,000 a quarter, okay, he has received that at least 13 times. That would be $1.3 million over the period since we are in office. Isn't the math correct, Tim?
Yes.
Good. Now, when you juxtapose that with one person getting $1.3 million on the one program, there were 6 parliamentarians in opposition between 2016 and 2021. Timothy Polio, tell me in your good conscience, how can a man who says he's Prime Minister for all distribute the resources of the state that don't belong to him and refuse to give any opposition member not one penny, not a penny to spend in their constituency, as opposed to Philip Joseph Pierre, who comes in and does the direct opposite of Alan Shatney. How do you interpret that conduct, Tim? Tell me.
But why you interviewing me on my show, sir?
No. I'm asking you because Bradley is not putting things into context. Bradley must say, and you know, Tim, I'll tell you one thing people cannot refute. No one can refute facts. You know, we may be highly opinionated, but facts are facts. Data is data. Records are records. Those cannot be rebutted. They cannot be. And the records will show that both himself and Alan Shastney together have received pretty close to $400,000 under the NHAP, the National Housing Repair Program, pretty close to that. And they have both received, they have together received about $3 million, because I do believe the Prime Minister would allocate a little more to the leader. So they have received between them in excess of $3 million. And I can get all the documentation in substantiation. So when you take two of them receiving in excess of $3 million and 6 men for over 5 years could not receive a penny at the hands of Alan Shastney, who basically was manifesting, you remember, what we coined as the doctrine of what's the name, BELROSE Doctrine, which it said, if you don't support the philosophy of the United Workers' Party, then we cannot share with you. And they got absolutely nothing.
But I wasn't aware whether the funds that they were making reference to, whether those were Taiwanese funds.
No, but the only funds that was being allocated directly for projects to be selected by parliamentary representatives, both on the government and on the opposition side, was the Taiwanese funds. I don't know of any other funding in government. To me, that fund for housing was a $10 million from a loan we had taken from the Taiwanese, and $4 million of US was allocated to housing.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if the Prime Minister, Pierre, added more money. But you see, out of convenience, the minister will call and will highlight what he thinks. Now, that is his word, Tim. How do we know that what MP Bradley said is not so?